Maurice Stokes was well on track to being one of the best players to ever play the game. Standing 6'7" and weighing 230 pounds, he had the strength to dominate the boards, plus he had the skill to handle the ball and find his teammates for open looks. He was a great slasher and he had a solid outside shot. Basically, he could play all 5 positions, something that had never been seen before. After completely dominating at St. Francis, he was picked 2nd overall in 1955 by the Royals. In the first 3 years of his NBA career, he was a 3-time All-Star, a 3-time All-NBA performer, and he even led the league in rebounding as a rookie. But on March 12, 1958, his career and life would be changed forever as he fell and hit his head during a game, falling unconscious. He was woken up and returned to the game. 3 days later, he got sick again, then suffered a seizure, leaving him permanently paralyzed. The silver lining to this sad story was that Maurice's friend and teammate Jack Twyman became his legal guardian. Maurice would pass away in 1970, as it's unfortunate how an accidental fall altered his entire life, but the relationship between Jack Twyman and Maurice Stokes epitomizes the meaning of a teammate. Welcome to PZ Hoops, and let's get down to it. Maurice Stokes was born on June 17, 1933 in Rankin, Pennsylvania, as one of 4 children. He attended high school at Westinghouse, where he led the team to back-to-back city championships. He had a couple college offers, but he decided to stay close to home, committing to St. Francis. Maurice immediately made an impact, dropping 32 points and 28 rebounds against Villanova. A lot of teams refused to play St. Francis because he was so dominant. The Red Flash finished 21-5, while Maurice averaged 23 points and 26 rebounds. St. Francis went 21-7 in 1955, making the NIT. Maurice went off, dropping 43 points in the overtime loss in the semifinal to Dayton. Even though St. Francis placed 4th in the NIT, Maurice was named the MVP of the tournament. He was named the 2nd team All-American with averages of 27 points and 26 rebounds. Maurice was offered $15,000 to play for the Harlem Globetrotters after graduation, but he chose to play in the NBA, being drafted by the Rochester Royals with the 2nd pick behind Dick Ricketts. The Royals were led by player coach Bobby Wanzer, as they also drafted Jack Twyman, a promising forward from Cincinnati. Ed Fleming and Jack Coleman rounded out the starting lineup. Maurice wasted no time making his mark, dropping 32 points, 20 rebounds, and 8 assists in his NBA debut. He put up 31 points, 27 rebounds, and 6 assists on December 9th against Boston, followed by a monster triple-double on January 14th against Syracuse, with 26 points, 38 rebounds, and 12 assists. Maurice had a playstyle that had never been seen before, as he would often start dribbling down the court once he got the rebound, looking to set up his teammates. He affected the game in so many ways, dropping 21 20-point games, 18 games with at least 20 rebounds, and 13 games with at least 5 assists. But the Royals weren't that good outside of him, shooting the 2nd worst field goal percentage, the worst free throw percentage, and fouling the most, as he finished 31-41, missing the playoffs. Maurice made the All-Star team, the All-NBA 2nd team, and won the Rookie of the Year, averaging 17 points, 16.5 rebounds, and 5 assists. The Royals had the number 1 pick in 1956, as they selected Sahugo Green from Duquesne ahead of Bill Russell. He would only play in 14 games before leaving to play in the Eastern Professional Basketball League. Jack would improve a lot in his 2nd season, while Richie Regan and last year's top pick Dick Ricketts were the new starters. Maurice continued his dominance, dropping 31 points and 33 rebounds on January 16th against St. Louis. A week later, against the Hawks again, he put up 33 points, 21 rebounds, and 14 assists, then 14 points, 21 rebounds, and 11 assists 5 days later against New York. Maurice had 19 20-point games, 26 games with at least 20 rebounds, and 14 games with at least 5 assists. He really had his hands all over the league, ranking 13th in points, 2nd in rebounds, and 3rd in assists. He also set a league record for rebounds in the season. Jack was playing well too, as he had the 3rd best field goal percentage in the league, making his first All-Star game. The Royals had the top defense, but their offense was still highly inefficient, as they finished with the same 31-41 record, missing the playoffs again. Maurice averaged 16 points, 17.5 rebounds, and 4.5 assists. The Royals moved to Cincinnati in 1957, and they had the number 1 pick again, selecting Hot Rod Hundley, but they would package him and 4 other players to the Lakers for Clyde Lovelet and Jim Paxson. The Royals felt like they could finally compete for a playoff spot, as Maurice would take his game to the next level. Maurice had a week in the middle of November where he dropped 4 straight triple-doubles. He would actually lead the league with 9 on the season. He had 26 20-point games, 22 games with over 20 rebounds, and 9 games with double-digit assists. He finished 2nd in rebounding and third in assists again, as Jack kept getting better, shooting the highest field goal percentage in the league. The Royals had done a little bit more winning, and they had a playoff spot all but locked up heading into their March 12th matchup with the Lakers. Maurice was dominating as usual, as he had 24 points and 19 rebounds. As he went up for a layup, he collided with Vern Mickelson, hitting his head on the floor and falling unconscious. Maurice was revived with smelling salts, and he returned to finish the game. Maurice's career year saw him average 17 points, 18 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. 3 days after his fall, he dropped 12 points and 15 rebounds in a Game-1 loss to Detroit, although he was suffering from nausea and vomiting the entire morning. Maurice collapsed while boarding the team plane. A few minutes into the flight, he fell sick again, telling Dick Ricketts, "I feel like I'm gonna die." Before they landed, Maurice had a seizure and was sweating profusely, as Jack described it as if someone had dipped his head in a swimming pool. Once the plane landed, Maurice was rushed to the hospital, where he went into a coma, being paralyzed from the neck down. The final diagnosis was post-traumatic encephalopathy, a brain injury that affected his motor control center. Obviously, Maurice would never play again, but when the Royals found out that he would require expensive 24/7 care, they didn't renew his contract. So Maurice was left with no income or medical insurance. But Jack would continue to keep tabs on his friend, visiting him every day for 10 weeks. When Maurice's family ran out of money, Jack was able to become his legal guardian and manage his care. "We played our last game. Everyone had their suitcases packed," Jack said. "I was the only player that made his home in Cincinnati. So here was a guy without a team, without teammates, his family in Pittsburgh. He was a man in limbo. I was the only one there." Jack arranged for the NBA to host an all-star fundraiser game in Monticello, New York, which became an annual event to raise money for Maurice's medical expenses. Although Maurice was permanently paralyzed, he was still alert and communicated with his eyes. After an intense physical therapy regimen, he had limited movement as he started work on a biography that was never finished. But unfortunately, Maurice's health got a lot worse in the 60s, while Jack continued to visit him. Maurice would ultimately pass away on March 31st, 1970 after a heart attack. He was 36 years old. Jack ended up making the Hall of Fame in 1983, but every year after that, he campaigned for Maurice to be inducted, and he finally was in 2004. In June 9th, 2013, a year after Jack passed away, the NBA created the Twyman Stokes Teammate of the Year Award, honoring the league's ideal teammates. Maurice Stokes had a game that was decades ahead of his time. He could shoot, rebound, dribble, pass, and defend, as he was able to play all 5 positions on the floor. His first 3 seasons were excellent, as he even showed some point forward abilities, way before anyone even knew what that was. But an unfortunate fall would dramatically alter not just his career, but his life. But he happened to have a friend named Jack Twyman, who continued to take care of him and raise money to fund his medical expenses. One can only imagine what the full potential of Maurice Stokes could have been, but at least his story shows how strong the bond between 2 teammates can be. Thank you guys. I really appreciate y'all for watching these videos, man. You guys are really supporting me. You guys are really supporting, and I'm really glad to make these videos, man, because like I've always kind of heard this story in the background. Like I never looked so deep into it. I'm looking at the stats at Maurice. I'm like, hold on a second. This dude was like LeBron in the 50s. Like he's doing everything. Like he's 6'7", 230, strong, handling the ball, like rebounding, doing all this. Like this dude was a unit. Like what? And he's averaging triple-double. He's doing all the pass. Like I had never seen somebody like that. 4 straight triple-doubles. And this is before Wilt came into the league. So he's dominating like that before Wilt, before Bill Russell, before Elgin Baylor, before all these guys. But it's just, it sucks how just an unfortunate injury, like an unfortunate incident, and his whole life has changed. I still feel kind of mad at the organization, man, because it's like, I know you didn't technically have to pay, you don't have to cover his contract. I feel like that's just super scummy. Like you see the dude is paralyzed and he won't be able to care for himself for the rest of his life, and you just say, sorry, we're gonna take you off the books. I feel like that's just kind of cold to me. I feel like that's really cold. Seeing Maurice play, like this dude was a unit, man. That's why I love this channel, man, because I can go back and I can see types of things I've never even seen before. Like I've never seen highlights like his. I never saw anyone like that dominating like that in the 50s. I think he would have averaged a triple-double if he would have kept playing. He definitely would have averaged a triple-double. Like like a better team around him, he would have averaged a triple-double easily. Like way before Oscar Roberts and all them, he would have averaged a triple-double. This is where the Teammate of the Year award comes from. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate y'all for watching these videos. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Turn my post notifications on if you haven't already. Please be safe. Stay on the grind. I'm I'm out. Peace.
Jack, I guess you're pretty proud of these guys in the National Basketball League that come around every year, huh?
Well, Sam, I sure am. The fraternity of professional athletes, I think, is a wonderful thing. So there's a strong sense of loyalty among the players that are here this evening, and they are here to try and do something for one of their fellow ball players.